I remember when I started in fitness being so frustrated, so like offended at myself for how weak I was feeling, for how tired I was, for how hard it was to fit in the schedule, how hard it was to make it consistent, how like all of that. All of that. Beginning is hard, man, especially when you've got a life. Trying to add more into it. It's a whole thing. So I wanted to talk about how to make it a little less just, you know? And one of the things that I did was I just chilled out quite a bit. And what I mean by that is I would take the action I needed to, but I wasn't judging it in terms of like how much time I had. Maybe I only had 10, 20 minutes to do something. That's great. I just did it. And there were a lot of times when I had to modify the exercise so much it barely even looked like it was the same thing. And that's just the way that goes. This is all just for now. And I think that was like the thing that I had to remember was like I just have to find a way to get through this slump. I have to find a way to get through this frustrating part, see what's actually frustrating me. How can I address it differently? And so it takes a little bit more thought. But it's the setup, right? It's setting up those systems of like, okay, I'm getting really frustrated. This particular workout is pissing me off. How can I get through this? And a lot of times it had to do with me not judging myself for not being able to do it the way the instructor did it. If I was following a video, I would just do something differently, or I would do it at a different pace, or I would maybe not go as deep in the squat, or not, you know what I mean? Like I did what I needed to do to really tap into my body, to really feel the form, to take my time. And so, yeah, I soreness, that's a whole other thing. So and so I just did what I could to exercise enough to get acclimated to it, but not so much that I was so sore that I couldn't keep going. And so I think a lot of it is just having that patience, taking that time to just get into the groove of it before you really get into the other nitty-gritty of it. So that was super, super helpful. Was just allowing myself some time to just get acclimated, and not do so much at first because through a lot of my life, I would throw it all at the wall. I would be like, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this. And I just burnt out. Like it's just not even sustainable. Whereas if this time I took my time really figuring out what was going to make it cool, what was going to make it as little, experiencing as little frustration as possible. And that worked a lot of wonders, just that alone. And um and I took away the idea of like starting and stopping, because I did through a lot of my life. I would start a thing, start with all the things, burn out, and then I would stop. I quit thinking about it like that because there are some weeks where it's hectic. There are some weeks when I've got a lot of residual issues after the accident. I have a lot of physical things. And so there are just periods of time in which a lot of exercise, it hurts. It doesn't feel good. And I have to let my body kind of recover and repair whatever's going on. And so I think that also just not thinking about it in such black and white, such linear thinking, I think that that has been one of the things that has really saved my sanity in a lot of this because that removed a lot of the shame, and removed a lot of the self-judgment of like, well, you couldn't do it that time, blah, blah, blah. And instead, it's like I'm building this body of proof that I can. I'm building a body proof that I've done it before, and I'm just going to keep doing it. Taking a little bit of break doesn't mean anything. It's a blip in time. It doesn't even matter. It's just, it's, and it, I didn't stop. I took time that I just needed to do it. And there's so many advice and tips about how to get things in and sneak things in, and that's valid. I've made videos. I made a video about how to sneak fitness into your life. Absolutely. But there's also going to be times when it's just not feasible. There are going to be weeks when you don't have time to meal plan. You don't have time to cook. You don't have time to and there are so many things, there's so many videos talking about like you're going to wreck your progress. You're going to ruin everything you've done. I can't think like that anymore. I can't do that. It's in no way helpful to me because now that I've established the habit, because I took my time and really like fed into it and really tried to make it holistic. I try to make it just something that I enjoyed, something that was a little bit easier to put in different places because I took that time to figure that out. But there's this threat of like you're going to ruin everything you've done, and I can't subscribe to that. My mental health, it like the self-judgment that I can get into is so harsh, and it's so easy to get to that place. And no one talks about that. I feel like I don't feel like I hear anybody just saying like, "Hey, you might have some shame in all of this." you know, Here's how to take it out. And I think taking it out is just by doing the best you can, because there will always be times when you're ready to push. There will always be like little times where you're like super into something, into a new thing, and you're just ready to go for it. I did that with running. I actually did. I went through a running stint, and I started really really small, like 10 seconds at a time, and I slowly increased that time and just kind of kept going. And then I ended up running a 5K. That was after I broke a hip. I have surgery. I've got like a back injury. Like I don't run anymore because I don't run like that anymore because it exacerbates things. But during that stint, I took my time and it was fine. I'm not sure where I was going with that. There will always be somebody telling you you're doing it wrong, online or in person. There will always be somebody telling you that you should be doing something different than how you're doing it. That is an added layer of frustration that nobody talks about, is how sometimes the things that are so motivational or intended to be motivational are like can be the most demotivating thing ever. You know what I mean? Like never miss a Monday. Are you going to keep like if you miss the Monday, how tempted are people to just shoot it off? And I've seen that. I've seen that in groups, in accountability groups where it's like, oh, I missed this workout. Should I just pick it up next week? And it's like, no, man, you just pick it up, like just you fit it in where like it's not, it's not that big of a deal. And we make it this big deal. And it's so, oh, I saw, this is crazy. We were like 3 weeks into a challenge. And the lady said, hey, I missed yesterday. Should I start the challenge over again? And I was like, and I've seen this multiple times. I might have told a version of the story because I have seen it happen. I saw a woman do it like 2 months into a 3-month challenge. Like, what? What are you talking about? We gotta chill out. We gotta chill out a little bit on it. And it's just, and when you've been exercising for so long and you've been into the healthy habits for so long, it's like it becomes less intense. It becomes less because you've already done all of this stuff. So this one day it doesn't matter. When you're in the beginning though, you've only been at it for like a week or two. You miss a day and it's the end of the world because you've only been going for those 2 weeks. Let time pass. Do what you can. Build the body of proof that you know that you can fit exercise in, that you can stick with, healthy eating certain days. You're just building a body of proof in your head that you can keep going, because that's the real secret to people who have been working out for a long time is they know that they can do it. They know they can just pick right back up. They know that they've got it. And so I think that that's like one of those things, especially being a beginner, that I think people who have been exercising for a long time, they forget, and I've been consistently exercising for the last 4 years, but that I struggled with that all of my life, all of my adult life. It was always a struggle of starting and stopping. I took that out. I took that out of my head, and it was the best thing for me because I'm not in here as much, like there's not as much noise. And building the habit first, just getting into the groove of something, whatever that means to you, that's where it's at. So it's just like, I just can't worry about it, man. You just can't worry about it. It's like, I feel like we cause so much drama in our heads about things, and it's fine. It's fine. Start where you are, like legitimately where you are, physically, schedule, whatever. You might be frustrated that that's either all you can do, or you might be frustrated that it's not how you want it to look. But if you just come to terms with the fact that this is just how it is right now, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. You know, you can push as you go. You can do a little less in certain times. You can do a little more in certain times. It's not even a big deal. It's not a big deal. You got this. Don't be frustrated. Don't be frustrated. I say that now. I went through a lot of frustration, but so much of it just had to do with just being okay with what I could do, not worrying about how the exercise looks on the screen, not worrying about the fact that I could not do a lot of the exercises. I had to just modify them a lot and do them really differently. And things just got better. And certain things I can't do because of my injuries, but I just do something else. I just played around and just figured out different ways to do things that still was safe in terms of form and still worked, the muscles similarly, but you just do something different. There are so many ways to exercise. There's so many ways to move. There are so many ways to fitness. There's so many ways for you to feel good. So many ways. Don't worry about the rest of it. Don't overthink it. This video was probably kind of a mess because I have to leave for a client's house, but I really wanted to just put this out in the world and let you know that everything's okay. And a lot of the drama is in your head, usually coming from outside sources or comparing yourself to an earlier version of yourself. I did that too. Oh my God. I did that too. There have been so many times where I've caught myself doing an exercise that I used to love, but I really struggle with it because I do have some nerve issues in my leg. And I struggle with them now. It's like, this used to be my favorite exercise. I had to let it go. I let it go. And now I just modify it. I do it differently. And so now that's my favorite version of that exercise. Things are going to change. And as we age, man, that's going to change too, And all we can do is the best we got. That's all we've got, And so I guess I say all this to say, you're doing an amazing job. Whether you've started and you've already quit, you just remind yourself that you haven't quit. You just needed to recalibrate. You just needed to think about things a different way, implement them a different way, do things just differently. And, if you're in it right now, I get it. I feel you, man. I really do. It's really hard. I say above all else, listen to people who inspire you. Listen to people who actually encourage you. And if at any point there's some comparison creeps in there, just unfollow them for a while. It's all good, And then you can always pick them back later when you're in a different space. You can do that then. But just really try to tap into you, This is your life, this is your thing. If we can let go of some of the frustration and the drama, whew, good on you. And the best will come from it, I think. Anyway, I have to go I have to go to my client's house. So I will see you in the next one. You got this. Take care. Happy training, and we'll see you soon. Mwah.